So last year we had the Justice League, where a giant purple space monster comes to the planet to collect objects to destroy the world. And the Justice League has to band together and fight him. Then Marvel saw that film and said, hold my beer. Avengers Infinity War is directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, and it stars Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Benedict Cumberbatch, Chadwick Boseman, Tom Holland,
3 weeks later,
Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, Vin Diesel, and Josh Brolin as Thanos. God, there's a lot of people in this movie. Basically, if you've ever been in a Marvel MCU movie, you're in this movie. Avengers Infinity War is about Thanos, the villain that we've seen every once in a while in post-credit sequences or in Guardians of the Galaxy very briefly. And he is going around the galaxy trying to collect all of the Infinity Stones. You remember those little gems that popped up every once in a while in various Marvel movies that were very powerful on their own? Well, once Thanos gets all of the Infinity Stones, he will be able to just snap his fingers and destroy half of the universe. But it's up to all of the Avengers that we've ever seen in any Marvel film ever and the Guardians of the Galaxy to come together and fight Thanos and stop him from getting all of the Infinity Stones. Avengers Infinity War is the culmination of 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just think about that for a second. 10 years ago, Iron Man came out and started this whole thing off, and at the time, it was a crapshoot. They didn't know if it would work. And obviously, 10 years later, it has worked exponentially well because almost all of these films have been made with care and with good characters and good directors and screenwriters. And yeah, I'm a fan of the MCU. I've seen all these films in theaters. I'm not like one of those hardcore fanboys. I will pick apart these movies to the end of days. Like, some of these movies aren't very good. Some of them are kind of boring. But they're still, like, watchable enough where it's like, okay, I can give them a pass. Like The Incredible Hulk, for instance. But overall, I enjoy the MCU. Yeah, like, none of them are hitting Empire Strikes Back level when it comes to, like, big blockbusters or anything. But they're fun blockbusters. It's always fun to go into an MCU movie because you're most likely going to have a good time while you watch the film. And you get to see these heroes that you like from the Marvel Comics. And I'm not a comic book reader, really. I have a couple back here, obviously, because, you know, it's like, okay, I'll casually read a few, but, you know, I'm not huge into it or anything like that. The only one I don't really like is Thor: The Dark World, and that's just, you know, kind of forgettable. It's not even that awful. It's just, whatever. But most of these films are either good to pretty great, honestly, and they've managed to keep this up for 10 years and not make it feel stilted or anything when they bring these characters together. And right off the bat, I gotta say, Avengers Infinity War keeps up that streak. I was kind of concerned, because this movie, when you're jumbling that many characters, has so many opportunities to feel stilted, to feel like characters are kind of thrown on the wayside. And sure, there are characters that are more important than others, that have more screen time. Obviously, that's going to happen. But every character, all the heroes, all the Guardians of the Galaxies, all the Avengers that are here, all get their due and all play something of a part in this fight against Thanos. The other thing I was really worried about is Thanos, because going into this, I think anyone who's seen these movies can admit most of the Marvel villains aren't great. At least the MCU villains, I'm saying, aren't all that great or memorable. Yeah, you got a couple like Loki and Ultron and Killmonger from Black Panther. There's maybe one or two others that you could maybe make a small case for not being too bad. The Mandarin, actually, in Iron Man 3, I will defend that choice of Guy Pearce as the Mandarin. But other than those, there's been a lot of just lackluster villains in the MCU. But I am pleased to say Thanos is absolutely not one of them. In fact, he might be my favorite villain. Actually, no, I'm going to say he is my favorite villain. We've had him set up in post-credit sequences in the Avengers movies and then a little bit in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, but we haven't really gotten a hold of who this guy is. And right off the bat, and I'm not going to, this is a spoiler-free review, but right away, as soon as we see him, he makes himself known, and he is scary, legitimately. I am concerned about the heroes. He is a great villain. He has presence. His reasoning for doing what he's doing actually, in a weird way, like, you can kind of see the logic for like a couple seconds, even though he's obviously going about it in a very psychopathic way, without, you know, getting into what's going on there. And that's always a mark of a great villain. Like, think the Joker or Hannibal Lecter. They will say things where you're like, you know, that there's a logic behind that. Or Killmonger, even from Black Panther. It's like, I can see where you're coming from, but killing's not the answer. So, you know, like, that's what makes a powerful villain, because, you know, they're scary. It's never interesting to just see a villain come to Earth and say, I'm going to destroy the world because I feel like it. Stop it, Wolf! Oh, sorry about that. I'm trying to talk vaguely about this film just because, you know, the movie just opened, not everyone has seen it yet. But I really enjoyed this movie. The action is fantastic. The mix of comedy and drama really works. And this movie gets dramatic at times. This movie has legitimate drama in it too, with the legitimate comedy. And I like how they integrated all the characters together. I was wondering how would the Guardians of the Galaxy fit well with the Avengers, and no problem, honestly. The way they integrated them felt natural. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like they were coming from a very literally, I guess, a completely different world. But it felt like they fit in really well, and I was happy to see that coming to fruition. It didn't feel lopsided as far as comedy and drama go either. And like I said, all the characters have something to do. They have a reason to be here. And this film is stuffed with characters. Yeah, you may only get like a few lines from a few of the characters. You may only get a few scenes from a few of the characters. Sure, that's true. But this movie really worked. It grabbed me. It was fun. It was dramatic, which makes it even better than some of the Marvel movies that are just fun. But, you know, like the first Avengers movie was fun and light and all that. But this movie gets dark and dire at times, but it still has that Marvel fun feel to it. And the Russos are great at that. And just everything about this movie was, you know, it's exactly what I would want out of a movie like this. Fun, dramatic. I care about the characters because of the other 18 films, but also what they give me here. I enjoyed this movie. Yeah, okay, I will say this. If you are not familiar with the MCU, this is not going to really be your movie. If you've seen a couple, you might enjoy this movie. The ones I think you should see before this, the ones that actually matter, are, I suppose, the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe the second one, just because of, you know, connecting a little closer, but not necessary. Just see at least the first one, because then you know who the heck these characters are. The other two Avengers movies, see Civil War for sure, Thor Ragnarok, and probably Black Panther would be important to see as well. Speaking of Black Panther, and this isn't a spoiler because it's all over the trailer, they fight in Wakanda, and that fight is pretty cool. It is pretty epic, I gotta say. But it doesn't take away from the seriousness or the drama of what's going on. It's not just like, oh, let's have fun killing space aliens or whatever, or whatever. You know, it's not a movie where you go in and say, I want to see stuff blued up. This movie is not a Zack Snyder movie or a Michael Bay movie where the only purpose for its existence is to see stuff blow up. Thank God. Because there's genuine characters, and you love these characters and you care about these characters. Be careful with the internet if you haven't seen this, because people will start spoiling it. They already were spoiling it before the movie even came out, because, you know, humanity's so wonderful. But I really enjoyed this movie. Honestly, see it in IMAX. It is worth the ticket price. And I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what's your favorite MCU movie. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.